Welcome back, and I'll go briefly over what I'll be doing today. Mostly it's working on the tunnelers on the holdout map. So I've actually got the waves implemented to an extent, though I actually do want to check them, because I don't actually think there's a bug in the way the attack waves are working. So we'll look at that first, probably. But then we'll be looking at the tunneler paths, and also the map. I think I want to make a few changes to where the map's set up. So we'll work on that as well. Okay, so first thing I was talking about was the wave spawner. Now I want to add in a quick cheat to allow us to speed up the wave spawning. Just gonna be an event. Zero with an X. Okay, so what I actually want to do is drop it to something like 0.1. So basically the next tick will drop it to 0. Okay. So we need to get the wave spawner. Okay, I did set up all the waves the other day, so but we'll see what happens. Because basically, each time I drop it, the next wave should spawn. We shall see. So there's wave 1. And wave 2's black ants. There they are. Wave 3. Oh. Right. Breaks at wave 3. First failure of the day. Nope. That's just the garbage collection thing. This comes up every now and again. So wave 3 failed. Why did wave 3 fail? Okay, for a start, I added something in. Yeah. I added something in to basically be a check to see if the wave was spawning from another wave. The linked wave thing. So unfortunately that test is null and void. I've got to wait 10 seconds. Okay. First wave spawned. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So we're on wave 3 next. Right, wave 3 is the first wave of tunnelers. So this is probably why something's different. Something's amiss. Something with the tunneler array that's wrong. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The Queen is in imminent danger.
Okay, so the tunnel is spawned, fine. Oh, I figured out what was broken with the tunnelers, by the way. So they're working now.
The Queen is in imminent danger.
My guess Is that, yeah, that's just spawned a bunch more tunnelers. Right, okay, so there's something wrong with the tunnelers. Essentially, the tunnelers are not working out right. It got attempt to access index 0 from tunneler stored path. Yeah, because it's trying to respawn the tunnelers, but it's removed. Okay, so essentially it's trying to spawn the tunnelers more than once. That's why. Down here we also need to remove the creatures from the wave. It's okay. Dead simple mistake. That should be it. It's wave 1. Wave 2. Wave 3.
The queen is in imminent danger.
Wave 4. There we are.
The ants must protect the queen.
Wave 5.
The queen has fallen. Her body will be dissected and her untended brood pillaged. Most young ant colonies will end this way. Just another meal for the creatures of the undergrowth.
Okay, I can't tell whether wave 5 worked. But let's assume it does for now. And then we need to actually think about the tunnelers. Okay. So, I was thinking about this. And having these side routes doesn't actually seem to make much sense to me. Like pre-dug out. I mean, when we started, it was a proper nuclear symbol, but now I've already watered it down by turning them into tunnels a bit. And I think, basically, I'm just going to fill this in and make tunnelers dig these routes out. And essentially, there's going to be multiple points in the level where the tunnels will try and dig it out. So you can stop them if you know what happens in that wave. You can come around and try and stop them, but then later on, as things get a bit more hectic, they'll try and sneak a few tunnelers in to dig out the extra routes. I think 3 routes to your queen is fine. I don't think we need any more than that. Maybe I'll do 6 routes for the tunnelers to take, like 1 there and 1 there, 1 there and 1 there. So it's pretty much the same route, but yeah, we'll see. What's that? Is that the queen head point? Yeah, it is. That's just used in the death animation. See, that camera's constantly looking at the queen head point. So at the moment, I'm finishing off this this holdout level. Then I'm going to be moving on to other things. I'm hoping by the weekend that the movement code should be in a state that I can actually use it. So it should mean next week we have a better stream as we go through the old maps and the maps we've been working on and actually play them and balance them a bit. But this week we're still working in the dark a bit. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna fill in those areas. No messing about, we're just gonna do it. Including this one. So I'm gonna store multiple routes to the player's queen, and these routes are just going to be followed by tunnelers at various points during the wave spawning. Now I want to keep the wave spawning predictable. So, I mean, in free play I've randomized it, which has its place. So basically, if you do waves in free play, it's kind of pot luck what wave you get. But in this, I wanted it to be predictable so you can kind of feel the sense of progression. So maybe you keep getting stuck at wave 14 or something like that. And so you work on your strategy to get to overcome it. You can't really do that in free play because you don't know what you're going to get. But in this, we can control it a bit tighter. There's 3 spawn points. I don't actually think I need any more than 3. Because I have a tendency of adding loads of stuff. And there's absolutely no reason for it. There's enough going on without constantly adding stuff. There's also a question here about resources. So we added resources to be tunneled out as you play the game. However, I think at certain points there should maybe be resource drops. Or maybe we should just rely on the player making kills to get the resources. Oh, you're right, Daniel Sky. Good to have you with us. Good to have you back with us. It's quiet around here at the minute. I haven't really pushed the stream today. I think I'm going to leave it that way at the moment. Just have a quiet stream today. So I'm going to be jotting down the routes that these tunnelers can take. Now I'm going to jot it down in a Excel document. Well, not Excel, in a calc document. Now I could bring up the calc document, but there's no point really. It's just going to be a list of numbers. So there's going to be 6 routes. So going clockwise, no, 5 routes because one of them's already opened. You're watching on your phone. How does it work? Is it working well? So this is going to be top right. So then bottom right 1, bottom right 2. So just top there. Tiny stream. Okay. Okay, so these points are the points where the underground stuff can be positioned near. So I want these away from the routes because we don't want the tunnelers tunneling out the underground rooms. As soon as the rooms are randomized a bit, you have to be a little bit careful here. I was going to make as many ants as possible playable in this level. So the idea is that you play it and the score you get gives you an amount of unlock resources, and that allows you to unlock different types of ants to change up your strategy for next time you play it. Although I was thinking about getting the army ants in here as well, just to allow the players to have a dabble in those. And then also thinking about different upgrades you could potentially unlock. It's all possible. We've just got to work out what exactly we want. Okay, so this will be the route for one set of tunnelers. So this is the top route. I'm looking for this number here called unique ID. I'm just going to copy and paste them as we go. You know what, I'm actually going to paste straight into an array because then I don't have to recopy and paste it all. Yeah, I'll do that. So the movement code, the last I heard from Liam today, he's trying to get something in place, something usable in place for Saturday. Because he's going away for a few days at that point. However, he's made some sort of costly mistake, is what he said. So I think he's made a mistake in it, and he's now having to rewrite a load of it. But hopefully by Saturday we should have something we can use to test the levels. Okay, so I need to okay, so this is what I'm going to populate. Just these. Multiple of these. Okay, I'm going to bring this over to my other screen so I can just pop stuff straight in it. Ah. Right, give me a sec. Now, each of these routes is going to be quite long. Unfortunately not. The way it's been done, we've intercepted the old stuff. I mean, it's still there. I believe we could probably turn it back on, but it's so close to getting it done now that seems like a waste of time. It's alright. I have stuff to be getting on with in the meantime. I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Okay, that's the first one then. We're going to repeat this process 4 more times. So, one here, one here, one here, one here. Joys of game development. So while Classic's blowing up at the minute, it's doing better on streaming services than it's been for ages, I think. I guess people are interested in what's who doesn't like the annoying digging ants? It's only the second level in the game that's got them. They muck up your best laid plans. Oh dear. Oh yeah, hang on. Got confused a bit there. I'm actually really interested in WoW Classic. I was there right at the beginning when it began. I played the beta for the original. I'd say I liked it before it was cool, but it's never really been cool, and there was no before time. It was popular right at the beginning. Oops. So I've made myself a shaman, and I'm exploring it as well with what little time I have these days. It's another thing about it, like a lot of the WoW oh yes, the 8-hour stream I promised for when we release the next major update. That was the deal, right? It was the next major update. Hope that was the deal. My shaman's worked his way through the Valley of Trials. It's not a fast process, is leveling in Classic. It's not. I can't play like I used to. I remember back in the day when me and Liam would actually get together and just play for days straight. Oh, to be young again. To have that low level of responsibility. I can't remember what size the trap jaws are. I would currently guess not. Then I'll have to have a look. Maybe they do. I mean, you would have thought that. I mean, trap jaws are bigger, right? Because the mages are actually considered large creatures in the kind of movement hierarchy. The Medeas are considered medium creatures. And the workers are considered small creatures. Now the black ants are definitely considered small creatures. So are the wood ants. But that's a really good question. I'll check after I've done this one. This is path. What, 3 of 5 we got to do? So after I've done this one, I'll have a look to see what the trap jaws are. Labeled as or flagged as. Right, that's that one done. So I'll just save that whilst I don't want to lose that those paths I've put in. Okay. Again, some lag at the moment. Still lagging. I haven't actually decided that for this map. I haven't decided what the player will start with. And this, I don't think they're going to start with any sort of pre-built nest, because I want that to be an entirely player decision. However, you could start with a few more workers maybe to speed up the beginning. Still lagging. Okay. Nope. Rainforest. Trapjaw. Actually, I think it's down is. I can't remember where they are. Other colony creatures. Okay, so it is. What is its collision info? Today we are adding tunneler routes into the map we've been working on, and then I'll be testing them to see if we can see if they work out. It looks like it's just set up as the standard, the same as the others. The trapjaws are, so they don't go under the black ants. Not at the minute, at least. Might be worth rethinking that. But yeah, these are the arrays of routes that I'm adding for the tunnelers at the minute. Ah, you're right, Raptor. A few of the other regulars are showing up now. Okay, so I've done that route, and that route. I want to do 2 here, and then we'll be done on that. So 2 more routes. It's about 20 tiles, I think, the tunnelers need to dig. Right, I'm going to grab myself a quick coffee, so I'll be back in 2 minutes. People? Wakey wakey juice. Coffee. Silence. Right, I'm returned. Don't worry, I haven't abandoned you forever. Okay. So I've done 3 of 5. Let's continue the amazing copy and paste task that is the tunneler routes. Nothing more entertaining than watching someone copy and paste for an hour. I have my lovely coffee, so I'm very happy. Some point soon, I want to get to doing some of the fire ant mechanics. Now that's going to be fun. Still haven't completely decided on what we want the fire ants to do yet. I've made some decisions on how we wanted them to on what some of their abilities should do. Not all decisions. Decisions like that difficult as well. Sometimes they're easy because you come up with something great straight off the bat. And you're just thinking, yes, that's a good one. Now I have done that a bit with the fire ants. There's been a few abilities which have been very, which I think are very nice. They should impact the game in interesting ways. But, like I say, it's not all like that. I need 2 more tiles in this route, don't I? Final route, I'm going to make it swing around like that. Just, you know, cause. I'm going to save it there. So we don't lose all this copy and pasting we're doing. I don't want to have to do it again. And then we'll run a test. Watch tunnelers all tunnel to the Queen. And then be on our merry way. So I think I'm going to stream till 2 today. So another hour. Once I've done this, I might do something a bit more interesting and work on one of those mechanics I was talking about with the fire ants. We'll see what we can get done there. Now, the fire ants don't have models or anything yet, but we'll be putting placeholder stuff in for it all. And some of the mechanics, like 2 off the same tile, or the egg becoming free after 60-second thing. That sort of stuff can be implemented with just placeholders. I'm in charge of the colony, and I will decide when we've finished testing. There, all set in your new home. Grow quickly, my little ants. We have lots of work to do. We do have lots of work to do. Oh boy, huge amounts of work. Start swing. I might just beeline for the finish location here. Okay, last one. Now I'm going to set up a test. Okay, cool. Save that again. Now we can move on from the copying and pasting. You'll all be pleased to hear. There is more to a developer's life than copying and pasting, although it is a huge part of it. Okay, so this is what I've been doing. This is what all of that hard work has led to. Damn it. Okay. So essentially I'm going to queue up one tunneler for each of these routes and then just let them tunnel. Okay, so in order to cue the tunnelers... Cue the tunnelers! I'm going to turn off the... Okay, so that should stop the waves spawning. That looks fine. Okay. 4. No, not 4 each. Just 4 loop. Routes 1 to 5. Get the route, spawn a tunneler. At the minute, they're just all going to spawn from the same location, but they should spread out and go to their respective points. And we should watch all the routes be tunneled out. Now, there's a possibility that at the end of the route, when they've got the last tile to dig out, they might walk all the way around to it. If that's the case, we'll have to look into the code at that point. Here's our tunnelers. Unfortunately, they appear to be completely stuck. That's one route being tunneled out. 2 routes. Three routes. Okay, so we need to ask ourselves the question, why on earth did they walk around clockwise to get to the end location? Okay, so here we've clearly got a situation that can cause issues. Okay, so it looks like all the routes are set up fine. However, there are other issues. I think most of them are just movement code issues, which I'm not too bothered about. It looks like the paths themselves are working. Looks like the AI for the tunneler breaks at the end as well.
Yes.
They don't have an attack system. Okay, that's important to know. But the routes are working. There we are. Just going to jot down on a piece of paper that I need to deal with these issues that have come up. So, tunnelers break at end of tunnel. Ants walking around clockwise.
The Queen is in imminent danger.
It was counterclockwise actually, wasn't it?
The Queen has fallen. Her body will be dissected and her untended brood pillaged. Most young ant colonies will end this way. Just another meal for the creatures of the Undergrowth.
Okay. Okay, so I think our test worked. The tunnelers are successfully tunneled, so to speak. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push these a little bit further in. Particularly this one, I think. Because the rooms we were dealing with weren't... These can go a little bit closer to the edge here, I think. Because it does deal with the edges. I think these ones as well. Brought in a little. What I could do with these actually is make the caverns appear on a shorter radius from the points and then put more points in. So there's an option there. But no, essentially that worked quite well. Okay, so we now need to add the tunnelers into the wave attack sequence. Or I could work on the fire and stuff. I think I'm going to make a start on the fire ant stuff. So, as much as this this level's doing well now, I'm gonna want to be able to test this soon. But the fire ant stuff is give us some variety, a bit different. Okay. So let's look at the creatures. What have we got? Let's make a new folder. I'm going to save a copy of the black ant into that folder. Let's open it and save as, that way we've got it in the right place. Okay, so here's our black ant, fire ant. Now I might need to rename this to something like Fire Ant A, Fire Ant B at some point. It depends what I do with the skill, what I do with the abilities. See, if the abilities are tile based, like I'm planning on doing with one type of them, then I won't actually need a separate type of Fire Ant. It's just the tiles will behave slightly differently. Okay, so we're going to need to set up a lot of the stuff for fire ants. To do that, we're probably going to have to go back into the C++. Arena O the ants. One moment. Yeah. It sort of is. Okay, I'm going to bring you into the C++ side of things now. I wonder who thought these needed moving to level methods. Don't know why they need moving to level methods. Anyway. Okay, so this is what determines your colony setup. So we're going to be adding fire ants into this. Right, so we've already got the army ants and the army ants from before. like I said, there's more work I need to do with the army ants, but they we'll get there with those. Yeah, so we can mess with them in our extra levels. But for now, we're looking into adding fire ants. So similar to the wood ants, for example. If I just copy all this, because I'm going to need all this for fire ants as well. As fire ants are a full formicarium creature, they need all the upgrades and improvements and all that stuff. For now, I'm just going to call it Fire Ant Upgrade 1. We haven't made decisions on all of these yet, or what they called or anything like that. Same with these. I'm actually going to put these... It just says wood ant, wood ant, wood ant. I'm going to put these right at the bottom, just so it doesn't confuse the blueprints. Here I'm going to be putting in some default values for them all. So some of these are balls. I just need to default them to false. Some of them are integers, so we need to default them to 0. Actually, max upgrade needs to default to 3 actually. So in most cases you can upgrade to level 3. Oh, looks like there's been an update pushed. Hopefully that'll fix some of the issues. Right. Sorry, I just checked out the wrong thing. I'm just checking out this file so I can actually save the edits that I've made to it. Okay, so there we have all the fire ant default values for the setup. Now, things get a little bit trickier next. There's multiple places in the code we need to attack this. And they're not all easy to find. And then it's not just the code, it's also the blueprints as well. Right, there I've just searched for every instance of leaf cutter that exists in the game. Just have a quick look what Liam's done. It looks like he's fixed the bugs that he introduced, and that he's also changed it so creatures don't drag themselves along the wall. Hello, whale copter. Me, yo, whale copter. How you doing? So it looks like Liam's actually fixed a few things with it. Okay, so that's not one we need to attack, because that's to do with the leaf cutter minims. We don't need to deal with anything to do with the leaf cutter minims. Okay, so this is the first one that actually matters. So this is in jobmanager.cpp. So let me check that out. This is it's in a different folder. Sorry. I also think I'm going to need to attack the H file as well. Okay, this is it's going all right. We're looking at we're doing the first steps towards getting fire ants in at the minute. So we're putting all the we're starting to put placeholder stuff in for fire ants. So essentially, I'm looking at all bits of code which, at the minute, I'm just looking at all bits of code which reference leafcutter ants. And you see there's quite a lot of them. And the plan's going to be, and I'll probably be doing this even off stream, I'll just continue to do this, but look at everywhere where leafcutters are looked at and add in the placeholder stuff for fire ants in those locations. So this is in the job manager, and the pending nurseries is actually the count of how many things you've said you want to build that haven't actually started building yet. And this is used for all sorts of things, like the price of rooms in free play. That's just one example. It's used for lots of other things as well. Okay, so I've hit a question mark here. And that question is, do fire ants have workers? Or are they all workers? Well, there's my answer. 2 different casts. Two different sizes of worker. So I'll have a standard worker and a fire ant. So I don't need to add stuff in for the worker, because the worker stuff works off its own code. So it works off a generic worker thing and then just looks at the species that's set for it. So I'll just add stuff for the mages, for the fire ant mages. And I'm just going to call them fire ants. I'm not going to bother calling them fire ant mages, because it's as opposed to workers. So pending worker nurseries. What down here we've got pending. There's the leaf drop off. So mages? What are you talking about, mages? Majors. Not mages. Yeah, leafcutter majors. Majors. Like, you know, major, like Sergeant Major. Not mages. We haven't strayed into fantasy. Well, we have strayed into fantasy, but not that much. To be fair, it's probably my pronunciation. Fire out majors. Majors. Mages. Majors. Majors. Okay, so I'm going to have to add this into here as well. The ordering here doesn't matter at all. Okay, so super majors being year 3. What species have super majors? Majors. I'm gonna be really aware of how I'm saying that now. Okay, so here we are hitting something else. So this is e-tile function. So that is a enum, and we're going to have to add it into here as well. So we'll follow that thread through as we do this as well. Fur. Oh, sorry. Let's follow this through. Okay, so this exists in a file called e-tile function, which is sitting in just the world area. So let me check that out. I'm feeling a bit more awake now. I've had that coffee really helped. Might get another one. Did a really good job. You know what I fancy? I fancy an iced coffee. Alrighty-o. I don't know what additional species we're going to have in these levels, and but we do have a plan of where we're going with the game and which locations we want to go to. So it will depend on whether those species interact with the species we're thinking about for the future. It's not to say it won't ever happen, but I would reel in your expectations on super majors. We will return to that at some point. Keep bringing it up, and maybe one day it'll happen. Okay, so well, there's actually scope for that with the leaf cutter challenge mode, because we're still deciding what exactly we want to do with that. But there's definitely occasions with leaf cutters with the the very small ones riding the majors. Okay, so I need to check this out. E-tile function. I think I'm blind. Can't see it. Oh, it's because I'm in the AI folder. I didn't mean to be in the AI folder. I need to go into the world folder. E-tile function. .h. Okay. Check that out. Okay. Going back to where we were. Right. As soon as IntelliSense catches up, it should be happy with that. So I'm just going to move on. Yeah, that's just talking about the leaf cutter medias. Moving on. Okay, where have we got to? So this is about updating the pending nursery jobs. So I can add it in here as well. And here as well. Okay, I see something that I've done wrong here. Brood chamber, brood chamber, brood chamber, brood chamber, brood chamber. That'll be why it's not happy with me. Marauder ants have them. Okay, so create surface tunnel job. No, sorry, create build job. Okay, so here we're looking at selecting build jobs. So again, I'm going to copy the black ant version because that's easiest for me to change a word or two. But here we have a player tool, which is another thing. So it's ePlayer tool, which sits in ETU controls, the controls folder. Ooh. Marauder ants have a special class of super mages which they will ride like a bus to work. Really? That seems mad. Everyone board your super manger. Like an SCV. APC. Sorry. Okay, so where was I? I was in the job manager. You should be happy with that once you've caught up with me. So I'm just going to move on. Okay, so what's this? Function to tool. Okay, so this is just something to switch between the function and the tool. So yeah, we do need to add it into here as well. Slave maker, trapdoor, army ants. So I'm just sticking it in just after all the stuff from the previous one, apart from the refuse and leaf drop off. Moving on. Down here as well, it's just the reverse of the above one. Okay. Yeah, I've already dealt with those. High's bot room. So this is Liam's bot stuff. But that's okay because that's the worker thing, so don't have to worry about that. Sequence bot data supplement. Highlight all rooms. Worker, leaf cutter worker. Right, so I don't have to worry about it there because it doesn't look like any of the battling ants are separated. Don't need to worry about that. Don't think I need to worry about this. I wish I understood coding, but then again, probably wouldn't go well for me knowing too much about what makes the magic happen. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it'd spoil it a bit if you actually knew what was going on. Though to be fair, not many. I don't think many people can follow someone else's code like as I'm flicking through it like this. I can only follow it because I know it so well because I wrote a third of it. We've already added it in there, right? Yep, fire ant tool. Yeah, well, you try and stick to certain practices and certain like standards. You kind of choose which ones you follow, just so you're all kind of working off the same page. And obviously, certain methods of doing things are quicker than others, so those ones tend to be at the top of the pile when they as approaches to certain things. But at the end of the day, it's going to take time to go through someone else's code and understand what it's doing. Okay, so this is about colony queens, I think. This looks like free play. Yeah, it's free play. I'm not going to worry about free play for now. Fire ants won't be in free play for a long time yet. Again, we're in free play. It's referenced quite a lot in free play, actually. Moving on. Game mode. Check and load level. Right, okay, so this is actually something I could do now. So this is assuming okay, interesting. This looks like this will probably need to be updated one day. But I'll just follow what it's doing for now. So where are we? We're in game mode. Oh yeah, they're all just it's all like creative works, isn't it? Okay, this looks like it's to do with your former carry. So this is just looking at the unit options by the looks of things. So she should be able to do this. Be fire ant. Level setup save unit option equals 1. Then target colony setup B fire ant variant equals true. Else Fire variables false. So this is to do with choosing which type of like leaf cutter you wanted. For example, the stun or the taunt when you're starting a level. I've just added that in for the fire ant, so the fire ant variant option is there. I'm glad you love the game, Project Zero. It's nice to get positive feedback from people. Really does help you. I need to put a default in down here as well by the looks of things. I'm going to keep going for a little bit now, but I will be ending the stream at some point. I'm beyond the point where I said I'd be streaming to, but I'm just going to keep going for now. Okay, so this is getting the build cost. Makes sense. We do need one for the fire ants, but we haven't actually given them an entry into the database yet. That's another thing we need to do. The cost database or the stats database. In fact, whilst I've come across this, I should probably deal with it. Okay, so it's your gamestate.cpp. So I'm just going to quickly nip into the data and add a reference in just into the cost ones, because it's good to update them as I come across them. Yeah, the fire ants will be coming in the next major update. We will get there. I'm just adding the entry in for fire ant build now. I really don't know what the cost should be. It depends which way I go with the game, so I'm just going to put an arbitrary value in now. I'll also add in fire ant hatch. Okay, so I've added that in. And the way the game's set up at the moment, it's set up for one queen, and the kind of game rules kind of exist around that. And it's possible in the future we might, but I think certainly before the game's in full release, it'll probably just remain to be one queen at the start. Don't think we'll be adding more anytime soon. Okay, so what's this? Get creature class by tile function. That's an interesting one. Oh, and they've got the variants as well. Okay. In that case, I will copy the wood out one. We'll deal with this. Okay, so we don't actually have a class for this yet. So I'm just going to write fire ant A. Fire ant B for now. But because they don't exist, I'm also going to comment this out. Oh, damn it. We've lost our... Need to search for leaf cutter again. Find where we were. We were in game state. That's the one. Done cost to seek. Yeah, this is the one. So that's where we were. Okay. So what's this? Get creature class by tile. Oh, this is what we were just doing. Done that. Okay, so next one, max out by tile type. But I might need to add this in. Yeah, I think I do. Again, following the thread through. I think a few things need to be added to this. Yeah, so this structure needs to be updated. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this. As you can see, there's still a lot to do, but I'm going to come off the stream now because this is mind-numbing work. But I shall be back. I'll be back next week, on Thursday definitely, and look out for some bonus streams during the week. Hopefully next week we should be able to test those levels we've been working on. I'm going to continue working on this, adding the fire ant stuff in, but this will just be the placeholder stuff. Hopefully, I can actually add the interesting stuff with fire ants as well, either next week or the week after, and we can look into that while streaming. So yeah, thanks very much for joining. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Until next time, bye.